Let's talk about dogs, more specifically dangerous dogs. The CAQ government introduced some new rules on dangerous dogs that apply to the whole province. With more on this, let's go to Anne-France Goldwater, family lawyer with Goldwater Dubé. Anne-France, good morning.
Good morning, Elias. How
listen,
are you?
I'm doing great. Listen, you've become a voice on this issue, right? You're an advocate for dogs in this province. What do you think? What's your take on what the CAQ said they were going to do this week?
Well, first understand I'm no fan of the CAQ, but what was interesting to me was to read the actual draft bylaw and the law under which it was adopted. And I think that there was a difficult job that the government was facing to balance everything that they heard in public hearings and perspectives from different members of the population, vets, doctors, dog owners, the people who've been bitten by dogs. I mean, I have to listen to all the stakeholders and come to a good balance. And for the most part, the balance is not bad. It's pretty good.
What they get right here? What, in your opinion, what they get right on the balance question there?
Well, first of all, they stopped targeting specific breeds. Now, I have to tell you, if you go over in French culture and you look at any pictures related, anytime they do any reporting on anything pertaining to dogs, they always find the most muscular and aggressive, cropped-eared pit bull they can find.
Yeah, but those are the killers, right? Those are the killer dogs. If your face is getting teared off, it's one of those.
But no, they aren't. I've read literature. You know, let's keep in mind that usually that when there's serious incidents involving dogs, it's often the youngest children and the oldest people, right? And so there is a case I read about in the literature not long ago, but a Chihuahua who chewed a baby's face off, right? So it's not the breed of the dog. So they really got that right. They didn't succumb to public hysteria on that. So that part I thought was great. Plus, they put the most important statement they made, and I'm very proud of them for saying it, notwithstanding Draft Bill 21 on this issue. I'm proud of what they said when they said the entity responsible for public security is the mammal at the other end of the leash. It's the human who is responsible for public security. And I love that statement from the beginning because it should remind people, I would hope, that it's a serious obligation before you adopt a dog, and you have a duty to the dog, to your family, to your neighbors, and to your community, especially for those of us who live in the cities where we're living in closer proximity to each other than ever. You are responsible for your animal. And they put all these provisions in place that made me super happy. You have to vaccinate your dog. And then we're going to go to the measles story. People barely have the wit to vaccinate their children, but at least we're going to have our dogs vaccinated. So vaccinate your dog and children and keep them on leash and ideally use a harness. I now use a harness with my dogs because I realize the old way we did it with a regular leash, you're putting a lot of stress on the dog's neck, especially if a dog who likes to pull. Sterilize your dog, microchip your dog, make sure your dog is wearing his city medallion. Do you know how many times I was involved in situations, including when I was the local Judge Judy, when I was l'arbitre?
Yes.
I had a very sad story about people who lost their dog. The dog wasn't microchipped. The dog wasn't registered in their municipality. And I welcome these people on the show to publicize to the province that they lost their dog in this area with a picture of the dog and so on, but they never recovered their dog. So a lot of these provisions they put in place, and I wish they would talk about this more, also go to the safety of your own dog. These are issues of safety for your dog too, number one. So I love all that stuff.
What about the role of vets in this? The role of vets to sort of say if a dog is dangerous or not?
Okay. Now when we come to the vets and the doctors, that starts getting more complicated. First of all, I have a great discomfort as a lawyer requiring fellow professionals to breach their professional secrets. Okay?
What do you mean by that? How would they breach their professional secret? What is that?
Any people doctor or dog doctor, a vet, who receives a patient who has bitten or has been bitten by a dog must breach the confidentiality and report it to the government. Now, the life or death of an animal is at stake. And let's keep in mind, what are the statistics? I think it's 138,000 dog bites a year in the province of Quebec alone. People forget, particularly in that our community, I don't know, man, but I was raised as an Anglo that don't approach a dog you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And if the dog is eating, don't go and tease the dog by trying to pull his food dish away.
Yeah, I had someone bark at my dog the other day. Luckily, my dog is 13 and deaf, but I'm walking down the street and someone comes up to my dog and barks at him, like a human barked at my dog.
Right. So
Yeah.
that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I think the government did miss an opportunity to put a little bit of a budget to, they're going to have, because they make registering your dog mandatory, there's going to be more revenue in public coffers. Use that revenue to send people to elementary schools and teach kids, especially we have more and more kids from the four corners of the planet. It is not in every country or culture that people are used to owning dogs in their home. Teach kids, don't approach a strange dog. Don't pat a dog you don't know on the head. A dog may perceive it as an attack. Keep in mind the dog can't speak. He can only speak by snapping at you, giving you a little corrective bite or worse. Mm-hmm. Another thing I like, and I know the city has implemented it, is preventative dog evaluations. In the sense that if there's a report, I don't like that it creates dissension between neighbors, but if there's a report or indication that your dog is aggressive, an inspector comes right away, meet you and your dog, and if the dog shows any concerning behaviors, you can be required to do an evaluation. Now, I've had people call me all upset about this, and I say, please, God, don't be upset. This is smart. If you don't know or realize that your dog is not having good social reactions, please don't wait until somebody's child or grandma is bitten, and then it's your dog they're going to kill, not you. Mm-hmm. More's the pity, but they're going to kill the dog. So please take the preventative evaluation as a positive step so that you can take the measures that are necessary, whether getting a training program for your dog or putting the dog in a muzzle, so that there isn't a tragic event later. I love preventative intervention. I love it, love it, love it.
And
one thing I don't like, is they say if a dog has bitten in any serious way and nobody knows what that means, they're going to kill the dog. Mm-hmm. And with 164,000 bites a year, we're not going to start assassinating hundreds of thousands of dogs every year.
Well, I think you mentioned first the balance there, and I part of the reason why I tend to agree with you that I think they struck a decent balance here, but you want to avoid the situations with Christian Vadnais. You don't want people dying here. So perhaps that's a way to
there's nothing in this law that would have saved her life. Uh-huh. That dog was in the hands of a young man who was with a record, who was probably in jail at the time, who left the dog with his mom in a world and a culture where people don't generally own dogs at home.
But if you can make a call now, and get that dog, have someone come take a look at that dog quickly and efficiently, if that changes.
And take the dog.
Yeah.
And maybe those people are not equipped to keep that dog, but don't kill the dog. Put the dog in a refuge, rehome the dog. What's the dog's fault? Mm-hmm. We're the ones who are taking dogs into our environment. We have the responsibility. So that's my only criticism. It's a serious one, but considering everything else was pretty awesome, I'm happy overall with the law. But please, you don't have to kill the dog to accomplish this.
Anne-France Goldwater, family lawyer with Goldwater Dubé. Anne-France, it's so much fun talking to you. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you, Elias. Take care.